And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram, we're glad you all could be with us for this special edition of our program. Again, of course, for our friends on Amazon.com, we appreciate you guys as well. Our next guest is someone who I've actually known for years, but it's his very first appearance on our broadcast, talking about his new title he picked up this year, that being author. We're excited to welcome Marlo Walton to our broadcast today. He's the author of this book you guys see here, When They Left. It's available now on Amazon. You all can be able to get it there. Hello to you, Rhonda. Good to be able to see you over there on the IG side. Robert Helm, good to be able to see you as well. We're going to talk to Marlo not only about the writing of the book, but what it's been like for him to be able to reintroduce himself to some, but also to introduce himself to others. We also will let you guys know what to expect when you pick up When They Left for yourself as well. If you guys are just finding out about Marlo, you guys can see his email address is actually listed with this broadcast as well. You guys can stay connected with him. But Marlo, welcome to Cyrus Webb Presents.
Welcome, man. Thanks for having me, man. It's really an honor.
Hey, man, the honor's definitely on mine. Like I said, it almost feels like, just welcoming an old friend. Like I said, you and I have known each other for quite some time, but I'm so excited, man. This year, you literally kicked off 2024, Marlo, with the release of When They Left. So for those who may have known you for other things, what was it like for you to kick off 2024 with the new title of author?
Oh man, it's surreal. I still haven't wrapped my head around the author thing. I've been having people tell me you're an author, and I'm to me it's just I don't do too good with titles, so I'm just like I'm just a black man, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And I will say this for those who are just meeting you, Marlo. I will say one thing about you is that you've always been someone who's kind of stood out. You have not been afraid of being able to own your own identity. And again, even though we've known each other in different roles, you always have been a creative person. You've always been a thinker. So what was it like for you to kind of bring that into this book When They Left?
uh man, it's just tapping into to our people, just period. I didn't it wasn't just about me, it was just about what the people was feeling and what the culture was feeling. So I wanted to tap into that as well as, historically, man, learning about our ancestors, trying to get a feel of how they felt. And talking to some of the elders and talking to some of the youth and people my age, just the middle child. So, all that comes into play.
Yeah. So what you're saying then dives into history. I mean, I think it's hard to be able to build that kind of identity without getting into history. Is history something that has always intrigued you, Marlo?
No, 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 it wasn't. When you go into school, they don't really talk to you about actual Black history. They'll throw you Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and they'll throw you like a little just some symbolism. They never, dive deep into them, or they never go into them in depth. So it was never important to me until I got older, and when I started learning more about our ancestors and things like that, and what they went through. I started caring more about myself. And so, want to seek knowledge. So
Yeah.
after that, I started learning more outside of school than I ever did in school.
Yeah. Love that. So let's talk about what you just said, because I really want our audience. I mentioned to you before we went live here, Marlo. I really want to kind of set the foundation before we get into When They Left, because I think if someone just picks up When They Left, they may be thinking, "Wait a minute, who is this?" What's going on? So I want to kind of set the stage before we get there. So thinking for yourself, I love the fact that you talked about that and being able to take in knowledge. What has that been like for you now to share with other people? Because one thing I think anyone who's talked to you, I would say, especially in the past 3 or 4 years, Marlo, I would say that you're a person that likes to impart knowledge to others, like to impart what they've learned with others. What has that been like for you to have other people appreciate that knowledge you're sharing with them?
Oh man, it's great, and it's to give knowledge. That wisdom tells you have to receive knowledge. So I come in looking for knowledge. I come in looking to receive something, and as conversation goes on, then you end up parting knowledge with most people. I'm sure that most people get our representative, so we don't really, share what we think. And most people kind of close you off. But when you find people that are really open up and they really catch little things, then you like, well, I can have a conversation with you on another level that I could, because like I said, with family and friends, most of the time you just want to smile and just okay, But with people that have intellectual properties, mental wise, you wanna talk to them.
Got you. So I think I have to say this for my audience, which is a very diverse audience, Marlo, that this is not about us versus them. I mean, this book is not about trying to separate ourselves from others. I didn't get that from reading the book. You are not a person I see as divisive at all. But I'm curious, how do you walk the line? Because one thing that's very big about you, and it comes through in the book when they left, is the appreciation of identity. How do you walk the line of appreciating who you are and what you represent, but not making other people feel inferior to you?
Oh, well, I would say loving yourself doesn't mean hating anybody else.
Okay.
But there is a bit of divisiveness in it, and it's important with that, because now you see there's a difference. You don't want to go along with anything. Right now you see a difference between or a division between females versus women and males versus men. And even with us, a part of my language, black people versus sellouts, or but so there is a bit of divisiveness. If you wanna grow, you don't want a cancer, which so there is a touch of that, but it's not to like I said, it's not to promote hate. It's
Right.
really to promote self love.
Got you. Got you. And I appreciate you saying that. So now that we've kind of laid that groundwork, I guess Marlo said, what did I get into with this guy? No, I'm
No,
messing with
you with me. I'm just doing the
you.
conversation.
But so when they left, because I have to tell the story, Marlo. So I was getting my hair cut by our mutual friend, Byron, and he says, "Hey, did you hear Marlo wrote a book?" And I was like, "No, I didn't hear Marlo wrote a book." So he pulled out his his phone and he's showing me the book. I was like, "Well, he didn't mention to me he'd written a book." So I'm sure you heard that from other people. Marlo wrote a book. When did you realize you wanted to write a book? How did when they left? How did it come about?
Um, well, actually, I've helped other people on their projects, like with books, and really, this is not the first book I've written, but it's the first one out. Like I got, I got plenty of books. They're just not, out, but
Got you.
they're in the chamber, rather to say. But man, it's been well received. I think part of what made me want to do that, man, I started noticing that a lot of our people start waking up to certain things, and I wanted to partially the reason why I wrote it was to navigate those certain things as well as provoke thought. So in writing the book, I came up with four principles, and those are four principles I think that we needed as a people, and that was self-love, self-defense, self-respect, and self-reflection. I posed a question a while ago, where I said, "How do you get a beautiful woman to get beauty products?" And the answer was you had to convince her that she's ugly. And for so long as a people, we've been convinced that we're ugly. And once you convince that you're ugly, you devalue yourself. And when you devalue yourself, anything that you create, you either sell it for cheap or abandon it. And I don't just mean that as inventions. I mean that as our kids too. And so I noticed a lot of people start having self love, and I want to be a part of that change.
So when did you get to a place in Marlo to bring this personal that you started to value yourself?
Ooh, man, it's some years ago, because I haven't always, man. If you don't value yourself, you can't expect nobody else to value you. If you don't care about yourself, you can't expect other people to. But the more I start learning about us and where we come from, the more you start learning about, our people creating math and science and just different things. You start to realize, well, I'm a part of that. I'm special too. When you start learning some of the hidden history, you start to get some encouragement in yourself.
Mm.
So it was that, and learning how. people go out their way to try to make you feel bad. Some of these industries, you know, we talk about mental health. Some of these industries are $1 billion industry. They
Yeah.
want to make you sick. They prefer, they put out things on television, things to make you sick and make self hate. So you know, and it's not just for us, but you know, I'm focused on us. But yeah, they put things out like that, so you start learning about your ancestors and things like that. You start to find a place of belonging.
Gotcha. So we're gonna get into the book. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. Welcome. I see you guys over there on YouTube. Hello to you. Those are joining us on X, formerly Twitter. Appreciate you guys being on with us. Of course, as I mentioned, Instagram and Facebook. Appreciate you guys as well. We're speaking today with Marlo Walton. He's the author of the book When They Left. As you heard him just say, this is his first book that is published here on Amazon, but he has other books that are coming. So for those, again, who are just picking up the book, I want to kind of walk them through this. Uh, Marlo, is this your story? Is this fiction? Talk to us. But how do you describe When They Left when you're telling someone about it?
Well, it has some historical references in it. Is not my story, but there are some truths in it, and there's some fiction in it. Even like I put symbols in there, you know, uh, like 1488 and other symbols that other the people you need to watch out for. You know, we in Mississippi, we've seen some of these numbers and things like that, but we had no idea what they meant. You
Yeah.
know, and it was a beware. It's a beware sign. Even one of the, you know, I won't say it on here, but even one of the symbols is a symbol that police gangs use, and I mean gangs like anti like the FBI called this out. So
Mm-hmm.
those symbols exist, and those are in the book. So and even there's boxing lessons. You know, I used to do amateur boxing. There's boxing lessons, like real boxing lessons in the book as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there's different things. Every number in there means something, and some of the names mean something in there. So
Okay.
everything it has something to it.
So you mentioned names. One of the names I mentioned to you before we went live here, because it is a big part of the book, is a character we get to know as the name Saint. Now, I should let our audience know if you're reading the book, it's going to read like it's being narrated to you by the person who is speaking to us, aka Marlo. As you just heard him say, it's a mixture of some truths, but also there's a story in here as well. How did you decide how you wanted to tell the story, Marlo? Because it does read like it's you talking to us. How did you decide how you wanted to tell the story?
Oh, ooh, that one. I didn't want to give away too much with it because you know
Yeah,
who was telling the story.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
well,
wanted.
you can talk
I,
around it. You can talk around it.
well, I wrote it so that the person that's reading, it's about them. It's about what message you get out of it. It's not about the story per se, but it's about you. What do you get out of it when you read it?
Mhm. So then talk to us about Saint. How did the character Saint come about?
Saint is the voice of the people. Uh, it's when you ignore certain things. You know, they say uh, pretty much he's like really he doesn't care about what people think about him. He cares about his people.
Mm.
So what Saint is he's really that voice of the people. Just a louder voice of the people, rather.
Right. And I think, too, almost like a voice of reason. In the chapter of Father's Guiding Hand, Saint is talking to us, says this. I wanted to read this, Marlon, and have us talk about it because I thought it was something interesting. Because it goes to, of course, the importance of awareness as well as self awareness. And there, uh, Saint says, failure comes to those who are least prepared, and confidence comes to those who are most consistent. In other words, never cheat your learning process. I want to talk about that because we live in a world, as you know, Marlo, where people want things now. And a lot of times, as we're living in this world, we sometimes are looking for the shortcut. We don't want to know the problem. We just want, how do I do this? Like, how do I become rich? How do I get the girl? That's kind of where our mind goes. What was it like for you to have Saint kind of remind us of the importance of the process? That every step in the journey is part of our learning and growing and being able to become better?
Well, it was important, man, because it's a lot of people that to go through hardships, and a lot of people that want to give up in life, and because they can't get those shortcuts, because they don't have a system back in their every play. You get the short end of the stick. A lot of times you do want an advantage, but just go through the process. You might fall down, but just surround yourself by people that'll pick you up. Instead of people that'll keep you down. It's okay to fall down, just don't stay down. And I've been learning that lesson from my mother and father a lot lately. So.
Mm. What about the lesson of patience, Marlo? How has that served you well? The importance of patience.
Well, patience has served me well, but you know me, I'm a person that's not really patient. So I've had to learn this. One of the editors, Chester Stewart, he really helps me with the patience part.
Mm.
'Cause I'm a doer. If you say let's go out here and let's do something for the homeless, if you say let's go out here, let's do something for these kids, I'm ready to go like ASAP. But they be like, whoa, we gotta plan it out. We gotta do this, that we gotta do this. So I've learned they say the measure 4 times and cut once,
Yeah,
or rather cut twice. I'm still learning the patience part, but
yeah,
it's very important not to stumble, especially when it's not about you, when it's about your people. You don't want to make a wrong mistake or a bad step that you can't recover from, or they can't recover from. Rather.
right. We all have heard the saying, or most of us have heard the saying, Marlo, each one teach one. It seems like you've really embraced that. I have noticed even in our interactions with each other over the past few years in particular, you seem to be really more intentional about the way you even talk to people. Is that something that's been easy for you to embrace the role of teacher for yourself?
No, I mean that not at all. But I know how I would like to be approached, and
Okay.
how I've been dealt with. My lessons come from other people, so as well. And you just soak in all the wisdom. Some people call it game, but I just call it knowledge. So you just soak in all the knowledge that you get, and you just you make a decision based on what you have.
Yeah.
So
Is it at this point, as you kind of look at when they left, and you did another great interview about the book as well, Marla? I want to commend you on that. Um, has it been easy for you to pat yourself on the back and say, you know what, I did that. I set out to do this thing, to write this book, and I've done it. Has that been easy for you to pat yourself on the back and give yourself credit for what you've done up until this point?
well, first of all, man, thank you for the compliment about the other interview, man. There was drummer 1980. He really made it easy, just like you. But now I don't do symbolism like patting myself on the back. Now I mean it's a good thing. I would if it translates into something tangible, if it translates into our people getting it and using it for something tangible, then I pat myself on the back. But until the end, I'm just pushing forward.
Hmm. So then, okay, you mentioned getting something from it then. So for our audience that are just finding out about the book, again, the link is there. They can go ahead and get it for themselves here on Amazon. What do you want them to take away from the book?
I want them to learn about themselves. Like I said, those 4 principles that I gave you: the self-love, self-defense, self-respect, and self-reflection. Those are some of the keys. But in it, there's hidden messages that there's not just one big message. There's a lot of little ones and some huge ones too. It's for them to get.
Education is something, people feel very differently about. When I was in school many years ago, uh, kids were not as excited about learning. They kind of made fun of kids like myself that actually did study, right? That didn't have a life. Of course, I still don't have a life, but that's another interview. But but it seems like to me, Marlo, that you are really trying to show that we have to rethink the way we look at knowledge, because a lot of young people don't see the value, right, of looking behind. They don't see the value of anything that's not what they're dealing with right now. How have you been able to, because I know you do work with young people, how have you been able to help them understand the importance of knowledge and the importance of them learning so that they can become better today?
Well, first part is understanding they really do want knowledge. It is when we talk about the kids are lost, we never talk about who lost them. You know, it's a process. You know, and you know insecurities. You know, you have the a lot of insecurities even as kids that they will uh mock something that they can't do themselves, you know, as
Right.
kids. But you know that starts at the home, you know, like we said, that's part of what's in the book too. You know, even like the intro, it talks about the elder class, the middle child, and the youth. You know, we have to work together on it. And you know, that's why I always, when I heard that the crabs in a bucket statement, I never really liked it because crabs in the wild don't pull each other down. It's the bucket, and the bucket symbolizes environment. And we never talk about who put the crabs in the bucket in the first place. And even in the wild, when a stingray tries to eat a crab, the crabs with the harder shells climb on top of the one with the softer shells to protect them. So we got to rethink what we're really seeing in that bucket.
Mm. That's interesting. Hey, Dr. Bam, I'm going to be able to see you over there on the West Coast. Appreciate you joining us on Facebook. It's funny you brought that up. I did an interview years ago for one of the TV stations in Mississippi. I was interviewing an author who wrote a book, and we were talking about the crabs in the bucket. And he helped me to see that in a totally different way. So it's so interesting that you bring that up because I think when we normally hear that, we normally think it's the crabs trying to keep the other crabs from making it out. But what he said to me, Jonathan Richardson is his name. He wrote a great book about the mind of the black man, and he said, Cyrus, he says the way I look at it is we're so intent on trying to make it ourselves, we're not even thinking about anyone else. It's not even about trying to pull someone else down. We're just trying to make it out. And he said it's not even about trying to keep someone else from making it. He said it's just about being so focused because you're only thinking about, okay, I got to do this either for myself or my family, whatever. And that's the way he looks at that. So I thought that was very interesting when it comes to perspective. Dr. Velma says, so true. Who put the crabs in the bucket? It's great. It's a great thing to think about for sure, Dr. Velma. So Marlo, I have to say I'm so proud of you, man. I enjoyed the book. I didn't tell you initially about the book. I was a little salty. You didn't tell me about it first, but it was okay. I got over that though.
It was calculated. I want to earn. I want to earn. I didn't want to be given anything. I wanted to earn the interview. You know.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. But I'm so proud of you. Again, the book, everyone, is When They Left. It is out now on Amazon. If you're joining us on Facebook and YouTube, you'll find the link here to be able to get the book for yourself. For those joining us on X, we'll put it in the comment section for you guys. And those joining us on Insta, I'll put it in my stories for you guys. Again, you can be able to stay connected with Marlo. You can see his email address is there on the screen there. So make sure you guys are staying connected with Marlo there. OneBlackElite@gmail.com is that email. The number one blackelite@gmail.com. Marlo, really appreciate your time. Any last words you'd like to share with our audience about what you hope they take away from When They Left?
Um, yeah, it just it'll tell you a lot about you. And even in it, it's a prophecy of a black Messiah is in it, which is the question that I get, you know, mostly about it. You know, asking is that prophecy real? You know, I tell them, man, that the government absolutely thinks it's real. You know, well, I give them quotes of J. Edgar Hoover talking about stopping the rise of a black Messiah, and also he said they're gonna create the next one. So we have to watch out for that one. But don't feel shy about reaching out to us at oneblackelite@gmail.com. You know, we do for the homeless. We do for kids as well. Also working together, you know, like you were saying earlier, we all trying to, you know, we trying to reach a pinnacle. But say if you got a camera, I write, and this person over here act, well, why can't we get together and create magic? We don't have to go at it alone. I know we've been programmed to, but you know, we got people that act and do voiceovers and things like that with us, man. So, you know, we can all work together, man. I mean, what you do is special, you know. So,
Such a great point. Marlo, again, congratulations to you on the book. Really appreciate that. And looking forward to our next chat together, man.
appreciate it, King.
All right. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Till next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.